demonstrate how to make a loaf of wholemeal bread using the Morphy Fastbake bread maker. And first of all, let's look at the ingredients we need. So we have wholemeal bread flour, very strong it says, brown sugar, skimmed milk, vegetable oil, packet of yeast, fast action yeast, and salt. Then the tools required, it's very handy to have a set of electronic scales, something to measure temperature with. That's mainly for the water actually that you put in, because it has to be warm enough, warmer than room temperature, so that the yeast acts properly. A measuring device for scooping up the flour and getting the right amount, and then it comes with these little devices as well. This is a little measuring device, measures a tablespoon and a teaspoon of liquid or anything else, and that's a 1/4 teaspoon measuring device. And we also have a set of pliers. You don't have to use those, but I use those to extract the paddle from the loaf of bread after it has been made. Then we have the actual fast bake device itself. And if you lift the lid, normally you would find in here the tin in which you put the ingredients, but my tin's over here and it needs a wash from the last time I made it. There's the paddle, you can see that rotating there, and it's got a bit of bread stuck underneath it, so that clearly needs a wash. Okay, I've cleaned the bread tin with a little paddle in the bottom, and then I've put a cup on the scales, zeroed the scales, and then put in 270 ml of water, which I've made sure is above 21 degrees centigrade, but well below 40. Otherwise the yeast will get killed if it's too hot. So in that goes. We want 2 spoonfuls of sugar. So there's one. Doing this fairly approximately, but when you do it you can be a bit more exact. There's 2.5. Come on, actually you know you want to get in there. 2.5 and a bit more. Right, 2.5 spoonfuls of sugar, and then we want 1.5 spoonfuls of milk powder as well. As you can see, I'm doing this fairly sort of basic, crudely. You can be more accurate. And then we have 2.5 of oil. No, just 2. 2 of oil. 1. Two of oil. What a lovely mess this is going to make. 1.25 salt. So just dig in there and get out 1.25 teaspoons of salt, that is. So I use the smaller end. And this one is the 1/4 measuring device. So in goes 1/4 of salt. Hope you're catching all this. Then the next thing, we've got to do is put the flour in. 400 grams of flour. Tip it all in. Whoa! Come on, get in there. Marvellous. Oh, looking good. So all the ingredients are in there. Sounds like a lot of flour, but it's right. And then finally, and it really is finally, you put in the yeast. 3/4 teaspoon of I'm not going to mention Blue Peter, but here's one I prepared earlier. Would have been a good way of doing this. There's one. What a mess. There's 2. Last one. Yeah, yeast all over the place. Now this is only a mess because of the way I'm doing it. There's another, and a bit more for luck. So that's done. All the ingredients are in. The next thing to do is to open up your bread maker, pop in the tin, That's it. Close the lid. Go onto the program thing, go to the menu and choose menu 3, which you'll find in the book that comes with this, is for wholemeal bread. It defaults to a large loaf, so I'm just going to change that to a small loaf, because I'll put in the ingredients specifically for a small loaf. Have a quick think. Have I got water, milk, sunflower oil, brown sugar, salt, flour and yeast? Yes, I have. Press the start button and off it goes, and you can watch it being stirred by that paddle. Well, only a few minutes have elapsed since I pressed the start button. There isn't anything else you need to do. It will spend the next 3.5 hours baking your loaf of bread. I've just spent the last few minutes cleaning up the kitchen surface. That's lovely and clean now, and putting everything away. Just have a look inside, and you can see already the little dough ball is starting to take shape. The paddle is whizzing round, kneading the dough, and eventually it will form a big round ball which will get baked into a lovely loaf of bread. So we'll come back later and see how it's starting to look. Unfortunately you can't smell it, but I can. Well, 3.5 hours are up, the beep's gone, which means the bread is ready. Hey, and there it is, looking wonderful. Let's dig it out. So I'm just going to take it out. There it is in its tin. Yep, seems to have risen. I'm just going to turn it upside down, pick up the there it is. Now you can see the little hole there. That means that the paddle is still inside the bread. Camera's steaming up as well. I'm just going to turn that over. Ta-da! What a lovely piece of bread.